Hey guys, this is the anything can and will happen version of 4-1 practice problems. I have not had a chance to even look at these. I have been crazy busy, and so I'm looking at these for the first time, and hopefully, usually that's when I screw up, is when I'm doing them for the first time. And I haven't looked at the answers either, so we're just going to wing it on this because it is almost 4 o'clock, and I would really like to go home. Okay. So, graph each equation by making a table. Right off the bat here, they've given you a horizontal and a vertical line, all right? The question is, which one's which? Well, if you're not sure, you can always go ahead and create the table, all right? We know that x is always going to be -2 here. So, -2, -2, -2. It doesn't matter what we pick for y, okay? We can pick -1, 0, 1. No matter what we pick for y, x is always going to be -2. You could also go over here to the graph and go, well, okay, x is always going to be -2. Here's where x is -2. Where else is x always -2? Well, wouldn't this be -2, 1, and -2, 3? And wouldn't this be -2, 0, and -2, -1? So x equals a number is a vertical line that intersects the x-axis at -2. All right, so we know this is going to be a horizontal line because y equals is the other one, but here's what it looks like on the table. Y is always going to be -4. It doesn't matter what we pick for x, and my go-to values are always -1, 0, and 1, unless fractions are involved. From here, you would go -1, -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, -4, 1, -4. You could see that these are the points where the y coordinate would be -4. And so this is a horizontal line, not a very pretty one. Nope. All right, so if you only have one letter in your equation, you're going to have horizontal or vertical line. Okay. Now we have two variables, okay? When you were allowed to pick values for x, I always go -1, 0, and 1. As long as there's no fraction involved. That seems to be the easiest way to do it, okay? So if we put -1 in for x, we would go -8 times -1, which would be +8. Put a 0 in for x, and -8 times 0 is 0. Put a 1 in for x, and -8 times 1 is -8. Now we can graph these points. Notice that the x-axis is graphed by 1, 2, 3, 4, but the y is 2, 4, 6, 8. So be careful when you're graphing. -1, 8 would be right here. 0, 0 would be right here. And 1, -8 would be right here. Oh, this one's going to be a tough one to draw. Yeah, there it goes. Oh my gosh. That's awful. I could never be a graphic artist. It's never going to work. All right. Moving right along. Let's pick values for x, -1, 0, and +1. And I think on reveal, it picks the x values for you. You don't get to choose those. You have to solve for the y values, but I'm sure you can manage. If x is -1, we have 3 times -1, which is -3. If x is 0, we have 3 times 0, which is 0. And if x is 1, we have 3 times 1, which is 3. And we graph those points, -1, -3, 0, 0, and 1, 3. And here goes another catastrophe line. Ah! It's a squiggly line. I'm not going to grade you on the straightness of your lines. No. Okay. All right, so here we have y minus 8 equals -x. Now I'm going to tell you right now, the easiest way to solve these is to put this equation in slope-intercept form. Because it's going to be really hard to solve for y with this -8 over here. So what I'm saying, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where the y term is by itself on the left, and then on the right side of the equal sign, we have the x term, and then plus b is usually some random number, okay? No variable. What we could do to get this in the correct form is add 8 to both sides. And that gives us y equals -x plus 8. And this is going to be much easier to solve. If we make x be -1, 0, and 1, if we put a -1 in for negative x, what's the opposite of -1? Positive 1. Positive 1 plus 8 is 9. -0 is 0, plus 8 is 8. And -1 plus 8 is 7. All right, so to graph this one, we would do -1. Okay, these are every 2 and these are every 2. So -1 is halfway and 9 is going to be right there. Okay, 0, 8 be right here. And 1, 7, oh, this is going to be a little line. Maybe I can do the little line. Let me see if I can pull this off. Oh, no. I can't even do a little line. Moving on, this one is also not in y equals mx plus b form. We want to have the y over here and the x over here. So what we can do is we can add y to both sides. That gives us y plus x equals 10. And then subtract x from both sides. And that gives us y equals -x plus 10. And now we've got the right format again. Make x -1, 0, and 1. Okay? The opposite of -1 is 1, and 1 plus 10 is 11. Opposite of 0 is 0, and 0 plus 10 is 10. And the opposite of 1 is -1. -1 plus 10 is 9. There's definite similarities to the last problem. All right, -1, 11. -1 and 11 would be here. 0, 10 would be here. And 1, 9 would be here. Once again, we have a little line that I will destroy. Was that fun? I don't know about you, but I'm having a great time. All right, now this one is in y equals mx plus b format, so we don't have to do a whole lot there, but we want to be careful what values we pick for x because we're going to multiply them times a half. So we want our values to divide evenly by 2. So instead of -1, 0, positive 1, I'm going to use -2, 0, positive 2 because 2 divides by 2. So what is half of -2? -1, and -1 plus 1 is 0. 1/2 of 0 is 0, and 0 plus 1 is 1. And 1/2 of 2 is 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So to graph these, we would go -2, 0, 0, 1, and 2, 2, like ballerina wears, 2, 2. I'm hilarious. All right, this is not in y equals mx plus b form. That bothers me. I want this to be in y equals mx plus b form because it makes my life easier and I'm lazy. I need to get rid of this 2. It should be on the right-hand side. It's the b. So y equals 1/4 x minus 2. Now we got the right form. But we want to be careful picking our x values because once again, we're going to multiply x with a fraction, all right? And the fraction is 1/4. So we want x values that divide by 4, all right? So we're going to use -4, 0, and +4. 1/4 of -4 is -1. -1 minus 2 is -3. 1/4 of 0 is 0, and 0 minus 2 is -2. 1/4 of 4 is 1, and 1 minus 2 is -1. So graphing this, we have -4, -3, and then we're going every 1. So -4, -3 would be here. They keep changing these graphs. We got to watch out for that. 0, -2 is there, and 4, -1 is right here. Okay, I think I can do this one. I think I can do this. I think I can. I think I can. All right. That one was pretty good. It seems like if I can go this direction, I can do it all right. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to dawdle. I know this is probably going to be a long video anyway because I have a lot of problems to cover. Okay, now they want you to find the X and Y intercepts. Remember, that means you're going to find when Y equals 0 and when X equals 0. I don't know why I put Y first. Not even alphabetically correct. It doesn't matter. We've got to find them both anyway. If y is 0, then we have the equation 0 equals 4 plus 2x. Then we can subtract 4. We want to solve for x, so subtract 4 from both sides. It gives us negative 4 equals 2x. And then divide both sides by 2, and we get x equals negative 2. So when y is 0, x is negative 2. So the x-intercept is negative 2. Okay. Now the y-intercept is what we find when we set x equal to 0. So we have y equals 4 plus 2 times 0. Well, that's going to wipe that out, and we're going to have y equals 4. Okay, so where does y equal 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. And we use just these 2 points to make my line. It's getting a little better, maybe a little bit. Oh, let's change up the color. Yeah. Okay, this one, it's not in y equals mx plus b form, but I guess when we're finding intercepts, it doesn't really matter. So let's do x first this time. All right, we have 5 minus y equals negative 3 times 0. 5 minus y equals 0. I need to, I'm going to move y over here so it'll be positive. I'm going to add y to both sides. And that will give me 5 equals y. I could have subtracted 5 from both sides, but then I would have had to multiply both sides by negative 1 to make them positive, and I would have ended up at the same place. So where is y5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is the y-intercept. Where is the x-intercept? The x-intercept is when y equals 0. So 5 minus 0 equals negative 3x. Well, 5 equals negative 3x. Divide both sides by negative 3. Now here it gets a little weird, okay? Because now we're going to have to graph a fraction. The x-intercept is negative 5/3. Well, let's think of this in mixed number format. That will make it easier for us to graph. This is actually negative 1 2/3. All right, so it's negative 1 and 2/3 of the way to 2. So we're estimating the location of that one. All right, that's why this intercept version of graphing is not always the most accurate. Generally, it does better to find a table of values. Now, using the intercepts works sometimes, and then sometimes it gets weird. All right, again, this is not in y equals mx plus b form. But you know what? Like I was saying, it probably doesn't matter. So if we're going to let y equal 0, when you're finding intercepts, it's not as important. If we're going to let y equal 0, we would have x equals 5 times 0 plus 5, right? Well, 5 times 0 is 0, so we have x equals 5. That went pretty well. Where is x5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right there. All right? Now, when x equals 0, we have 0 equals 5y plus 5, okay? Well, we want to get y by itself, so let's subtract 5 from both sides. We have negative 5 equals 5y. I think you know where y is going to be, where we're going with this. Divide both sides by 5, and we find that y has to be negative 1. Where is y negative 1? Right here, all right? So that one goes there. I kind of have to think, you know, I almost want to say this 10. I don't know if 10 went the way it was supposed to. Yeah, it does. That's what it looks like. All right. Weird. I forgot to change color on this one. Darn it. I hate when I mess up like that. Okay, so these are also find the graph using in the intercepts. So we'll do x equals 0. So we have 0 plus y equals 4. All right, so y equals 4. That's pretty easy. 1, 2, 3, 4. And when y equals 0, we have x plus 0 equals 4. Well, this is too easy. X is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Draw your best line. There you have it. When x is 0, we have 0 minus y equals negative 3. So negative y equals negative 3. We can't have that. So we multiply both sides of the equation by negative 1, and that gives us y equals 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And when y is 0, for the other intercept, we have x minus 0 equals negative 3, which means x equals negative 3. Where is x negative 3? 1, 2, 3, right here. And you can kind of get a feel for these. If the line falls on the, that was a good line. See what I did there? That was pretty good. If the line falls in the graph toward the center, you figured you probably did it right. Okay, hopefully this is our last one of these. I'm getting tired of these. Okay, when x is 0, we have y equals 8 minus 6 times 0. Well, 6 times 0 is 0, so y equals 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then when y equals 0, we would have 0 equals 8 minus 6x. Well, let's add 6x to both sides and get rid of that 0. We don't need him. He's not doing anything. I used to have an expression that says he's doing less than my husband on vacation, but now my husband's retired, so he's doing less than my husband does every day. All right. I hope he doesn't watch these videos. All right. So we want to get x by himself, and we divide both sides by 6. Oh boy. Well, first of all, this reduces to 4/3, which is also 1 1/3. Okay. So x is 1 1/3, which is just a smidge past 1. Yeah, I know. Smidge is not a technical term, by the way. Oh, that was bad. Okay. If we could just stop having Swims and draw straight lines on a graphic tablet. I think this is pretty straightforward. I think that you're probably enjoying these. And then we only have these 2 word problems left. So we're almost to the end, and then I get to go home. School lunch. Amanda has $210 in her school lunch account. That's a lot. I can't imagine having $210 in your lunch account. Oh. She spends $35 each week on school lunches. That's $7 a day? Are you guys paying $7 a day for lunch? The equation, here's our equation. Y equals 210 minus 35x represents the total amount in Amanda's school lunch account Y for X weeks of purchasing lunches. Find the X and Y intercepts and interpret their meaning in the context of the situation, and then graph the equation using the intercepts. Okay. When X is 0, we have Y equals 210 minus 35 times 0. Well, 35 times 0 is 0, so that gives us Y equals 210. So what is this in context? Well, that means that she started with $210, and before she bought 0, when she bought 0 lunches, she had $210, okay? But what about when Y is 0, or did X is 0? What about when Y is 0? We want to know, when is she going to be out of money, okay? So we would have 0 equals 210 minus 35x. We want to isolate the variable term, so let's subtract 210 from both sides. That gives us negative 210 equals negative 35x. Then we're going to divide both sides by negative 35. I should probably be able to do this in my head, but every time I do math in my head, I make a mistake. I'm sure there's a 7 in there somewhere. I'll just do it on the calculator to be safe because it's late and I don't want to have to re-videotape this. 6. Didn't see that coming. Good thing I used the calculator. All right, negative divided by negative is positive, and we get x is 6. So after 6 weeks, she'll be out of money. So then you would graph this if you had a graph. All right. This is the x-axis here. So x is the amount of weeks. And then this is the money. All right. And so she starts with like 210 up here. And then it would go down 35 for each week until it would finally end over here at about 6. And this would be 210. And then you have a line like that. That's pretty bad. Okay, this is the last one I'm doing today. And in honor of last, I'm switching to purple, one of my favorite colors. Love green too, but you can't see the green as well. The OOCL Shenzhen, one of the world's largest container ships, carries 8,063 TEUs, 1,280 cubic foot containers. Workers can unload a ship at a rate of 1 TEU every minute. The equation, oh, thank goodness, an equation. That's what I needed. Y equals 8063 minus 60x represents the number of TEUs on the ship Y after X hours of the workers unloading the containers from the Shenzhen. Find the X and Y intercepts and interpret the meaning in the context of the situation and graph it. Okay, so when X is 0, all right, then we have Y equals 8,063. It never gives me the other line on the equals. Minus 60 times 0. So this is before they have unloaded anything. This intercept shows you how much we started with, okay? That's what we started with, so that's your Y-intercept. Now, when Y is 0, when Y is 0, this is going to tell you how many hours, is it hours? How many hours it will take before the ship is empty, okay? Let's add 60x to both sides instead of dealing with a bunch of negativity. We don't need a bunch of negativity in our life. 2020's got enough negativity. 8063. And then our last step is going to be to divide both sides by 60. I can't do that in my head, so I'm going to hand my handy dandy calculator. All right, 8063 divided by 60. Oh, okay, we don't get a perfect answer. 134.4. I'm rounding, okay? So it will take approximately 134.4 hours for them to completely unload the ship. Now, I know McGraw-Hill, they're giving you a graph. They give you like 4 graphs as multiple choice. So you're going to be looking for one that has hours down here and has, what are those things, TEUs over here, okay? And it's going to start at 8,063 TEUs, and it's going to work its way down, 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 and it's going to end up here at 134.4 hours. So that's the kind of graph you're going to be looking for there, okay? I think that's it. There's no secret word assignment for this because all those free answers are your bonus. Yes, you will see all these questions again on McGraw-Hill. So if you are done watching this video, please hop over onto McGraw-Hill now and complete the 4-1 practice. Until next time.